Welcome back to part two of Trial Reels, the Instagram growth feature that feels illegal. It's such a dramatic title, isn't it? But it's honestly how I feel. The more I work with trial reels and more I test them and the more I see how much I'm growing with this feature, I'm like, how is this feature even legal? So, welcome to part two, in which I will be testing or teaching you the 4 strategic ways to trial and test what works best. So trial reels were designed as a test feature, but I already revealed that they can do so much more than that. But first, I'm going to teach you how you can use them for testing. And then in the next lesson, we will move on how to use them for more growth. So about testing. Before we dive in, this is something I really want you to be aware of. I really want you to stop and pay attention right here because trial reels only get shown to non-followers. They should be growth content only. Now, in case you are not familiar with this term, or in case you are not familiar with the 3 types of strategic content that you should be posting if you want to grow your Instagram account, let me give you a very brief summary, because this is not something that I teach inside this class. This is something I teach inside one of my other programs. But if you want to grow on Instagram, there are 3 types of content that you have to be posting. You got to post growth content that is specifically aimed, specifically designed to attract new followers. You got to post nurture content, which is content that strengthens your connection with your existing audience, that really nurtures them, and sales content. So that's content that converts engaged followers into buyers, or if you are a content creator and you work with brands, then sales content are your paid partnerships, your brand deals. Now, always remember, the people who see your trial reel know nothing about you. They don't follow you. They don't know your background. They actually don't even know what you do for a living, like what your account is about. They don't know anything about you. So your content has to reflect this. You can't build in your content, you can't build upon something that your audience knows about you. For example, I every single week, almost every week, I have this weekly series which is called Easy Real Idea and Trending Audio. So about every week I post a real idea, super easy real idea, tell you like, okay, you should be doing such and such and such, use this and this and this audio, and they say this and this and this in the caption. As soon as my followers see a reel of me that says easy real idea, they know, yes, bingo, got it, another great real idea from Eve. But if people who don't follow me see that, they might be like, of course, they understand the words easy real idea. It's not that, but they don't understand yet how this is my thing, how I share these every week, and how good my easy real ideas are. So a follower is much more likely to engage with it. Also, for example, if you share personal things, right? I went to Meta. When is it? It's now March. Yeah, about a month ago, I went to Meta, was invited to the head office of Instagram to speak on stage. So I created a reel about that, saying like, oh my God, got to speak on stage about Meta, pinch me, just huge career highlight, blah, 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 blah. My followers, because they know me, they're super happy for me. Like, oh, congrats, Eve. This is so amazing. I love following you. I'm so happy, blah, blah, blah. Like the compliments and the kind words and the wishes and heartwarming, they just kept pouring in. So nice. But if I would have posted that to a cold audience who don't know me, 1 or 2 people might have said like, oh, that's great. But if people don't know you, they're genuinely, they're not going to be as happy for you. Like if your best friend gets engaged or if your best friend is pregnant, you're going to be much happier and much more excited than when a stranger gets engaged or when a stranger gets pregnant. So that's the difference, what you got to remember about people who see your trial reels don't know you. So don't assume that they know anything about you. They know nothing about you. You have to reflect this in your content, which is why trial reel content should be only growth content. Don't try to sell on trial reel content because, I'm going to be very transparent with you here. I have definitely posted sales content as trial reels to see how it performs, but people are much less likely to buy from you or to work with you if they don't know you yet, unless you are really good at messaging and unless you are really good at what you do. But let's say for 99.9999% of people, that's not the case. So only post growth content as your trial reels. Now, why testing matters? Because you might be like, Eve, exhausting. I don't want to be testing. I can't be bothered. Testing is boring. Well, I disagree with you because I'm quite the nerd when it comes to this. I really love testing. I've been in marketing for, how old am I now? 38. So I mean, been in marketing for like 12 years, and testing has always been one of my favorite things to do. You know, when I was still doing email marketing and I would test like two different subject lines, like couldn't wait to look at the results the next day and see which one performed better and why. And testing is extremely valuable because testing really tells you what works and what doesn't. So, trial reels are the perfect way to test content without annoying your followers or risking dangerously low engagement. And that's an important point as well, because if you keep testing new things and you keep posting that to your followers, but it just doesn't resonate, so it doesn't get a lot of engagement, doesn't get a lot of views, then eventually Instagram will start showing your content to those people less and less. If your followers don't engage with your content time and time and time and time and time again, then eventually the algorithm is going to assume that they're not interested in your content. So the algorithm is going to show them content that they do engage with. So that's why you don't want to endlessly test in front of your audience, because it will actually eventually hurt your account. So Instagram gave us this tool. You can tell I'm a bit excited. Instagram gave us this tool that we can now use to test without annoying our followers or risking that dangerously low engagement. Now, like I said, testing is crucial because even expert marketers like myself can't predict what works. Data always beats assumptions. I can't tell you how many times I was convinced like A is going to do better than B, or this is going to work better than that. And then it didn't. I even did a little poll on Threads a couple of weeks ago, and I posted two of my trial reels, and I was just testing the hook. And I said, which one do you think will win, A or B? And most people said B. B will win. You know which one won? A. Because you can never know for sure unless you test it. Audience behavior isn't logical, it's emotional. So even though you think like, oh, this makes much more sense, it's not how people think, it's not how people engage. And testing really reveals what actually resonates with your audience. Testing also removes bias. You know, personally, I really like girly content and I really like stuff that's direct, and but it doesn't really matter what I like. It doesn't really matter what I think will perform. What will perform matters. And even Adam Mosseri, who's the head of Instagram, he says that experimenting is one of the best things you can do if you want to grow on Instagram. Whenever he does his weekly AMAs, his Ask Me Anything, or when he posts a reel with tips, and people say like, "Oh, Adam, do you have tips on how I can grow on Instagram?" One of the things that he always never fails to mention is experiment. Experiment with new things to see what works and what doesn't. And I would say that experimenting, testing isn't only, the right thing to do, it's a must because audience behavior changes. And this is also why a lot of creators, a lot of businesses, a lot of people who are already successful on Instagram are now struggling because they keep doing the same thing that they've been doing 2 years ago. And what you did 2 years ago worked, but these days it really doesn't. I can even see it in my own content. 2 years ago, no, how long did I ago? Yeah, I started this account 2 years ago. So let's say a year and a half ago, I could post a reel saying low reel views, try this trending audio, and you'll skyrocket your views. And I would get hundreds of thousands of views. I would get tens of thousands of followers. Like they were a massive success. If I post that same type of reel now, I get crickets because people have seen the trick. People know the trick. It's been done. It's done. It's over. It's people are tired of it. So, in order to stay relevant on Instagram, in order to stand out from the crowd, because everyone is trying to do the same trick, and that's why I'm like, don't just look at other creators and what they do is successful. Do that yourself. No, be you, be unique, and test with what works and resonates for your audience, and that's the best way to grow. We test to learn what actually works. Now, the four strategic ways to test. There are four proven ways, for trialed and tested ways by myself and by some of my clients to use trial reels to test what works before you commit to a big reels push. Strategy one is the A/B test to test two small variables to see what performs best. Strategy two is the new idea experiment, test a brand new content format, style, or topic without risk. Strategy three is the hidden market research tool. This is a good one. Identify which topics naturally attract non-followers. And strategy four is the remix and repeat, test new content variations based on past proven versions. Each strategy helps you refine your content so that you can confidently post what works. And obviously, we're going to be diving into each of these strategies together in a lot more depth so that you know exactly how to use them. So let's start with strategy one, the A/B test. So the purpose of A/B testing is to test small variations to see which one performs best. So A or B. You can also do A, B, or C if you want to test three things, or even four, or even five. But just make sure that what you test is always a very small variation, a very small detail. And you might think like, okay, but how can a small detail, really have big results? Woohoo, trust me. Like you'll see once you start testing, you will see how much like a tiny little word or color can even make. Now, what I want you to do, if you have two different versions like I have here, post version A as a trial reel, then wait 5 minutes, and then post version B as a trial reel. You don't want to post them like straight after each other, because if you post back to back, the algorithm can flag this as bot behavior. Instagram itself, I'm part of Meta's creator program. They told me to not do that. So wait 5 minutes or something and then post the second version. Now, what you got to do is you got to compare engagement per reach to see which one performs better. And I'll explain this in much more depth as well. Doing this helps you optimize your content before posting it to your main feed. It lets you tweak small details for more impact, and there's no risk. Oh, this is what I love about this so much. It only reaches non-followers, so your audience won't see both versions. So let me do a little test with you. So right here, I tested this. As you can see, exact same reel, exact same audio, exact same video, but I just swapped the words. Easy real idea at the top, training audio at the bottom, or training audio at the top and easy real idea at the bottom. So if you look at these results here, and I'm also going to grab that reel because it's still running as a trial right now. So if you look at these results right here, which one do you think won? You're probably going to think that this one won, right? Because it's got more views. So that's probably the better one. But what if I show you this? What if I show you the insights of both these reels? So this is the first one, easy real idea, trending audio, easy real idea. You can see it has 7 likes, 20 saves, 0 followers. And then this one has 16 likes, 5 shares, 19 saves, and 3 followers. So if you look at this, I think it's obvious which one is the winner, right? This one is the winner. Even though it has less views, the engagement is so much better. And like I said, I'm still running both of them as a trial reel. And right now, the left one, Easy Real Idea, has 2,000 views, and the right one has 8,000 views. I can even show it to you here if you don't believe me. There you go. And let's see how many followers they got. So the left reel right now, as we speak, gained me 0 new followers. So interesting, this. And then the right reel got me 28 new followers. Oh, what a big difference. I didn't check that. Like I created this this presentation yesterday. And overnight it really, really grew. What a massive difference. And can you actually believe that something as small as this, Easy Real Idea plus training audio, or training audio plus Easy Real Idea, that this is the winner, and that this determined whether I would gain 28 followers or 0 followers? Now, one of the reasons, I understand why a lot of people are always looking for training audio. It's more attention grabbing. So people, are drawn to training audio more than they are to easy real idea. But massive results that I didn't expect, because I thought people want an easy real idea. They don't want a training audio, but nope, it's the other way around. Isn't that interesting? Now, here's another one. Here I was testing the hook. So the first hook I tested was growing on Instagram is impossible, with showing 2 screenshots of my old accounts. Then I showed, second hook I tested was what happens when you nail the 3-step Instagram growth formula, which isn't, like that hook just makes me vomit in my mouth. But, that type of content used to work really well. So I just wanted to test and see what it would do. And then the third one that I tested was my account 2 years ago versus my accounts today. And just got a FYI, this will show the same way. I don't know why Instagram grabbed this as a screen grab. So 3 hooks. I'm testing 3 exactly the same reels, exactly the same audios, but just 3 different hooks. 533 views, 288, and 446. Which one won? Let's have a look. This is also interesting what's happening here. Because in the first one, you can see I got 3 likes, 1 share, and 1 save, which is not bad, right? 500 views and 3 likes, 1 share, and 1 save. Okay. Then the second one only got 1 save and 0 followers. The first one also got 0 followers. Then the third one, so unexpected. The third one, I didn't get any engagement, but I did get 2 new followers. What? So even though the engagement was better on these 2, I got 2 new followers from this one. So that shows me that that hook is the best hook. That's the winner, and that is the runner-up. Now, for fun, let's look at what they did now. Let me go to my trial reels again and see what the score is on those. Yeah, they all didn't really take off. That one has 500. Yeah, that one didn't get pushed anymore. That one also didn't get pushed anymore. And that one also didn't get pushed anymore. So Instagram decided like none of these are good enough to push out even further. But still super interesting, because if I'm going to do a comparison of how I grew from then to now, in the future, I'm probably going to use this hook. I know that I don't have to try this yucky hook, and I know that I also don't have to try this. Interesting, isn't it? So for A/B testing, like I said, the things that you have to test have to be small things, and I'll help you get started. So here are some things that you can start testing with immediately. So the first thing you can test is your text hook. Test 2 different opening lines to see which one grabs attention better, or test 3 or test 4. I really don't care how many you test. Of course, the more you test, the more work it's going to be ish. But testing a text hook is also so valuable, because I know so many people really break their brain on hooks. And text hooks are one of the most important things of your video. Like, they are a massive deciding factor in whether people will stop scrolling or in whether they keep scrolling, right? So a text hook has to be good. But are you going to pick this hook? Are you going to pick that hook? Are you going to pick such and such and such? And the thing with hooks is, and I've also been guilty of it, a lot of Instagram coaches are like, oh, this hook made me go viral, use it. But what works for me doesn't necessarily have to work for you, right? So test it. Test different hooks and see which one grabs attention better. And keep testing. Don't just test it once and then always use the same hook, because, if you test A and B, maybe B will do better. But then if you test that B with another C, maybe that C will do better. Keep testing, because if you keep testing like that, you are just going to up level your content more and more and more. That's obviously what you ultimately want. You can also test a visual hook, so 2 different visual starters to see which grabs attention better. A visual hook is, for example, when you walk into the screen, or when you open your laptop, or when you have like a little screen effect. That's a visual hook. You can also test audio, so use trending versus non-trending sounds, or use like a up-tempo background music versus a very slow background music. You can also test with text color. Try white text versus bright color text, or try green versus yellow, or purple versus pink. It will surprise you how much of a difference text can make, because text is, equals emotions. And it's with a reason that the checkout button on Amazon is green. Or maybe it's green for me and it's not green for you, because maybe what works better for my audience in my region may not work where you are. Like, that's the thing about testing. Things can be really particular and specific. So test. Also test things like color. Test with text placement. So maybe you put it up high on the screen, or maybe in the center of the screen, or the lower part of the screen, to see, where your hook grabs more attention. Super interesting test to do. Caption style. Test a short and punchy caption versus a longer storytelling style caption. Test your call to action, like follow for more, or follow if you want better Instagram tips, or DM me, or whatever your call to action is, whatever your purpose is on that post. Test your call to action to see which one actually gets more response. And again, I'm going to say this over and over again, only test one variable at a time, because if you test both the text hook and the text color, then you don't know which one made the winning video. If you have text hook A in green and then text hook B in pink, then you don't know if people stopped because of the different text hook or because of the color, right? So you want to test one variable at the time, because otherwise your test is not pure, as my university professor would say. Now, the metrics, I want you to look at post-test, and this is very important. If you have run your test, you let your reel you let it run for like 48 hours, preferably even a little bit longer, and then you go look at the insights. The first thing, the most important thing, is followers, because this is our main goal, right? We want to gain new targeted followers. So even if one reel got 50 million views and gained you 2 new followers, and another one gave you 1,000 views but gained you 10 new followers, then the one with 1,000 views performed better, because we want new followers. So that's the main thing to look at. Then next up is shares. Shares are one of the most important metrics that help the algorithm push your reel to more people. So shares are very important when it comes to reaching non-followers. So second, after followers, look at shares. Then I want you to look at likes, because likes are not just a vanity metric. Lots of likes means lots of reach. And then last but not least, I want you to look at saves, because saves are not as important for the algorithm. Like, the algorithm doesn't really care about saves, but they give you a good indication of how valuable your reel is, how it lands with your audience. So if something doesn't get a lot of shares or a lot of likes, but you do see that it gets a lot of saves, then that tells you that that's the type of content that your audience likes seeing, because they take action on it and they save it for, to come back to it another time. Watch time is also important, but it's very tricky to establish or to see what a good watch time is, because your reel length is gonna differ, right? One time you post a reel that's 3 seconds, well, it's a bit short, but you might, and then another time you might post a reel that's 9 seconds. So, because watch time is really, it's an important metric, very important, but because it's so tricky to measure, I don't want you to break your brain on that, and I just want you to look at the other 4 metrics that I just shared with you. Now, like I said, don't forget to look at metrics per reach. So if one reel has 2,000 views and gained you 3 followers, then that's better than a reel with 6,000 views and 4 followers. Yes, the one with 6,000 views gained you 4 followers, and 6,000 is more than 2,000, but of course, 6,000 and 4 followers is not as good as 2,000 views and 3 followers. Now, I also didn't include conversions in this list, because obviously conversions tops even followers. But conversions require advanced tracking on your website. You can't really track conversions on Instagram. So that's why I didn't include that here. Okay, let's move on to strategy 2, the new idea experiment. Test a brand new content format, style, or topic without risk. And this is great for trying new things that you normally wouldn't post. So if you always do B-roll reels with text on top, you gotta stop doing that, because it's boring. But you can try something new. For example, storytelling, or a talking head reel, or skits, or lip sync, or transitions, or duets, or remixes, or new editing styles. Like, literally, the options are endless. And especially when you've always been doing a certain content style, and you can just see that gradually, your views and your engagement are dropping, you're not growing anymore. Like, that's when you really got to try something new, which can be terrifying, because what if it flops? What if it doesn't resonate? And that's why we don't really want to post those types of new, like, test reels, that new type of format, to our followers. But we don't have to anymore, because we now have trial reels. So keep experimenting and keep trying new formats. Because, for example, with talking head reels, a lot of people are very scared to do them and are very scared to try them. But for me, I also didn't do them at the start, and I started doing them, eventually, because I was like, okay, I just want to give them a go. They don't get as many views for me. Like, the views are never sky high. They don't, get 100,000, 200,000 views, but I always get a lot of new followers through those reels. So even though they don't get the massive views, they do get the massive followers. So that's something, you can discover through testing. And there's no risk. If it flops, your audience will never ever see it. Strategy three is the hidden market research. And oh, I love this one too, because it helps you identify which topics naturally attracts non-followers. So it really helps you figure out which topics get engagement from a cold audience. So when I talk about topics, some people say content pillars, however you want to call it. But take me for example. I'm an Instagram growth coach, and I post about trending audio, about hashtags, about niche, about engagement, about likes, about saves, about how to grow, like I post about all these different subjects, right? That are all related to Instagram growth. But what I have discovered throughout the years, because I have a lot of experience and I posted a lot of reels, and I'm not afraid to test. Even before trial reels, I wasn't afraid to test. I discovered that reels or content about hashtags always perform incredibly well. And I don't know why, because hashtags are not that much of a big deal. But it always performs incredibly well. And I only know this because I kept posting, content about it. So, and the trial reel, my one trial reel that went super viral, is a trial reel about hashtags. And I'm not sure if you've downloaded Eve's hashtag handbook already. It's a free training, a free hashtag training. I only promoted it, I think, in two reels. I mentioned it, and in one story, and I already have 2,000 people who are in that training, because hashtags is something people struggle with, but I would have never known if I wouldn't have posted about that. So what I want you to do to really figure out, to really learn which topics inside your niche get more engagement from a cold audience, what really resonates with them, is post 5 similar trial reels, each covering a different topic. So in this case, I allow you to use B-roll. If you didn't notice yet, I'm not a really great big fan of B-roll, because I think overall it's one of the most boring and one of the laziest content styles there is on Instagram. And it's not going to be long until we're not going to be seeing much of it anymore. But that's a story for a different day. In this case, I allow you to use like 5 B-roll videos of yourself, like doing something related to your niche. That could be me sitting on my phone, or if you're a dietitian, you preparing a meal, or if you're a fitness coach, you in the gym, whatever. 5 similar reels, so all with the same video, but each covering a different topic. So the first one, if you are a fitness coach, the first one you start with, can't get your glutes to be nice and peachy. Making this up as we go. Then the second one is like, do you struggle with training your arm muscles? Then the third one is like, oh, abs are so tricky. Like, you just take a different subtopic within your niche and you post 5 similar trial reels on those. Then track which one gets the most reach, the most engagement, and the most saves, shares, likes, etc. Then use that data to double down on the topics your audience actually cares about. And this goes for everything, for all the tests. Don't test it once. Keep testing it over and over, because preferences change. And the more data you have on what works and what doesn't, the more reliable those results are, and the better you can work with them. So this really helps you see what resonates with non-followers so that you can create more of that type of content. It also helps you focus on proven content topics instead of posting randomly, because I, especially at the start of my business, I was like, oh, this is something people will love to know. I'm going to post about this. And I posted it and I had crickets, because what you think people want to hear, what you think people need to hear, is not always what they want or need to hear, especially if you don't really know who your ideal follower is. Like, unless you actually know who your perfect fit follower is, unless you really know to a T who your target audience is. And I know that 99% of people on Instagram don't know this because they're doing it wrong. But unless you know exactly who it is, yeah, you're just not going to have a clue of what's going to perform well or not. So test it. So this allows you to fine tune your content strategy for better future reach. And it's so much fun, especially when you think, that content about glutes or content about abs is going to perform better, but then you actually see that people want to learn how to train their calf muscles. Making this up again, but it's so much fun to see the results, and it's great if you're right. You're like, yes, I'm right, but it's also great if you just have like unexpected results. Strategy number 4 is the remix and repeat. Take what has already worked and fine tune it for even better results. So, this is great for testing new content variations based on past proven versions. So, what you can do is you pick a high performing reel and then you create 5 slightly different versions. You change the hook, you change the text color, you change the B roll, whatever. Just something different, and then post each one of them as a trial reel to see which one gets the best results. Because if something worked once, it can work again, even better sometimes if you refine it. So that's what I've done here, right? So on the left, you see my trial reel about hashtags that went super viral. You know, it's still a trial reel, as you can see here. Hashtags have changed. I repeat, hashtags have changed. Then I tried to do that again, but just with a different video, a video of me while I'm talking on stage at Meta. And it performed well again. Like, I posted this one ages ago. I only posted this one recently, so this one can still go viral. It didn't perform as well, but it did perform well. Like, it did gain me a fair few new followers again because I just repeated a winning formula, but I turned it into a new reel with a new video. So test that as well. Look at what worked well in the past and then tweak it and repost that. And in the next one, I'm also gonna in the next class, I'm also gonna tell you how you can find your posts that are performing the best, etc. So that's something that we'll get to in the next part of this training. But first, a little recap for your testing game plan. So testing isn't about guessing, it's about making data-driven decisions. So the first test that I want you to do is the A/B test, and this is one that you can do endlessly. Just test 2 small variables to see what performs best. Strategy 2 is the new idea experiment. Test a brand new content style without any risk. Strategy 3 is the hidden market research tool. Identify which topics naturally attract non-followers. And strategy 4 is the remix and repeat. Test new content variations based on past proven versions. Now, once you found that what works, because this is really important, you really have to test first to know what works. Once you found what works, you're ready to take the next step, which is what we will cover in class 3. In class 3, we're going to be talking about strategies for growth. So I will see you there.